Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, guys. I have a good one for you guys today. We're going to be recapping the part 1 of the Real Housewives of Potomac season 8 episode 19 reunion, guys. Whew, a lot. I went on Twitter and I saw a lot of chatter, and I know some people are not happy with the episode. I love the episode, guys. I love the episode. And there's a disclaimer before we start. Everything is all alleged. Just my opinion. So let's get started, guys. We have a lot to talk about. All right, first of all, guys, when they all came out, when Gizelle came out and Gizelle realized that she wasn't the first seed. First of all, I actually watched that twice. I saw that at the beginning. She was like, oh, we're sitting there. Like, obviously she's hot, but she gets it. And that's one thing. Gizelle is ready for this show. Like, she knows what she's there for and she will perform. And I know on social media, people were like laughing at her, like, oh, you're not first seed. I'm like, well, Karen was the first seed last season. So I think she's fine with it. And I think she's okay because she knows she lost to Karen and not to like someone else, right? So it's fine. I'm okay with it. You think that if Karen and Gizelle were not on opposite sides, Gizelle would have gotten the first seat? Gizelle would have gotten the first seat. That's just the truth. So it's okay. I don't care. It's fine. Look, Gizelle will still find her way to the first seat next season. Just watch and see. Gizelle is going to take note, and she's going to be that Gizelle that we all know her to be next season. But you know what? Let's get right into the reunion. Everyone comes out. Everyone looks good. Like the collective, they all look good. And Andy comes in and Andy's like, look, I want to set an intention for this reunion. Like, I know this season has been, and that's the thing that has pissed with the fans off, because we know Potomac has so much potential. Like, Potomac is so good. But these women are not ready to move past it. Andy's like, look, I'm expecting some resolution. Like, can we have like an intention to move forward this, like, basically at this reunion? And Karen is like, look, I trust these girls. I believe that we can. And Candiace is like, yeah, we can. And everyone is like, yeah, I'm with it. And then Karen is like, Gizelle, Robyn. Giselle is like, sure. Robyn is like, I'm like, oh my God, these girls are not for her today. Let's see how it goes. Well, guys, we get right into it. And we start with the whole SEX segment. Now, look, Potomac or like Salt Lake City, the ladies don't care. They really like to talk about things like that, and they're very fun with it. I don't know if it deserves to be a segment, but I think I understand what Andy was doing. At that moment, Andy's like, look, I would rather we start with something light than just going dark. So I could understand why he started with that segment, but it was just, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if that's what segment we should start with, but whatever. It's done. They talk about it, they all laugh about it, and kind of bring some lightness to the room, right? And then we jump right into Robyn and Juan's situation. Now, I will say this. I love how Andy's like, all right, we all know what happened last year. Robyn, why is he Juan here? And Robyn is like, well, because I don't think he has to be here. And Andy is like, well, guess what? He's not doing a basketball match, so why is he here? So Andy's like, okay, we invited Juan and he declined. And she's like, yeah, he doesn't need to be here because guess what? I can defend us for him. He doesn't need to be here. And I love that Wendy actually said something. And this is for the first time. I'm like, good one, Wendy. Wendy's like, look, don't you think that Juan needs to be here in the sense that doesn't he understand that he's put you into a lot of the fire? So it's good if as a man he comes and be like, look, that's my girl. Ask me the questions. And guess what? These women will not be able to face Juan face to face. That's the truth. So I think it would have actually been more productive if Juan had come, faced Andy, answered those questions the same way he answered them when Mia asked them during the show. And I think it would have been better. And I think that would have saved Robyn's job. If, disclaimer, allegedly, it seems like Robyn has been let go. And I truly think that if that's the case, partly because of Juan, because look, you guys are not doing what you're supposed to do. And when that's the producers, Bravo, can see Mia bring all her trash out, it's like, okay, Mia is giving us all these things, and you can't just give us the aftermath of a relationship disaster, but you guys are still together. Why can't you give us this story and say, hey, we've walked through it already. This is our mess. And that's why Andy said that, like, now, don't you think, even with everything that's come out, like, do you still believe him? And don't you think it would have been good if he just, hey, look, this had happened last year? Because in Robyn's defense, Robyn is like, look, I don't need to tell you guys all these things because guess what? At the time we're filming, it wasn't relevant. We already saw it out. And Andy said, well, that would have been a good time for you to be like, hey, this had happened last year, but we saw it out. And she tried to kind of hide away the fact that she had said, look, I was waiting for someone to bring it up. I watch what happens live. And Andy kind of reminded her, like, you were even saying it that, look, you were waiting for someone to bring it up. And since no one brought it up, you're not going to bring it up. Look, as a normal person, I'm not going to lie. I will never bring up my relationship being bad for everyone to shit on. So I can understand why she didn't do it. But obviously, I'm not the one collecting like the 5, 6, 7 figures salary, allegedly, to come and say, talk about my life. So in that sense, yeah, of course, she should have at least given them something to work with. And I truly believe that at this moment that Robyn lost her job, if she's actually lost her job, because you can tell that Andy is over it. He's asking these questions. She's not giving. She keeps saying, look, I believe everything. Gizelle is like, even when he talked about the coach being attractive, didn't you feel any type of way? And then she's like, no, because what I meant is that, well, no one would have talked about it if he was with someone that wasn't attractive. All right, I get it. But at the same time, Andy even says, okay, hi girls, does anyone here believe that Juan did not cheat? And everyone's like, no one believes it, but like, because Robyn believes it, we leave it and we believe it for Robyn. That would have been the time for Robyn to just be clear. I'm not joking, guys. This is my opinion, right? I truly think that they're in an open relationship. And remember that when we met Robyn was like, we're going to be together, even though we're not technically together, but we're going to live together in the same house, occasionally be intimate, knowing fully well that he doesn't really want to be there, but we're doing this for our kids. I'm not joking. I truly think that they're going to be together till their kids are 18 and then they're going to separate. That's my opinion. It's all alleged. That's what I think. I truly think that this relationship, it's an open relationship. I don't think Robyn is more like into the whole open thing. Juan probably is, but Robyn understands because that's been the dynamic of their relationship. They've been seeing other people come back together. Now they're married. I don't think it's like an exclusive, close relationship. I truly don't. Like I said, all alerts. This is just my opinion, just trying to think and give it some sense to it because it doesn't make any sense. And I think when people are bashing Robyn on social media, because truly it's like, girl, what do you mean by like you don't believe all these things? And even after speaking to Juan, you really don't believe it. And even after reading all the stories and the aftermath, you still don't believe it. You still believe everything he's saying. It's a lie. I'm sorry. Robyn is not that dumb. It's a big lie. It's obvious that she knows all this is real, but she's like, I don't care. This is my guy. And we have a thing that we're doing, but she's not going to let us know what that thing is. That's how I look at it, because we have to remember the way we met Robyn. The way we met Robyn. So Andy asks Candiace, like, okay, what do you think about the whole thing with Juan and Robyn? Do you think he's cheating with everything you've seen? And Candiace is like, look, I really don't care about whether he's cheating or not. What I care about is the fact that Robyn kind of hid this thing from everyone, but was like, oh, you guys are not talking about your real life the whole of last year. You guys are not talking about your real life. And Robyn is like, when did I say that? And then they get the example of when they were in Mexico and Robyn was going out Karen about like Karen hanging out with guys in the club and not basically saying her real life, basically. But segue, nobody says their real life, guys. I tell you, even Mia, if not that Gordon went haywire and exposed everything, Mia was not even going to tell us. None of these women want to tell us their real life. And can you blame them? It's their real life. I know it's all for money and we all know how reality TV works, so let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, you're going to show a portion, but you don't want to tell the entire world that your husband is cheating on you for the 200th time. And even Karen is like, look, I didn't even want to talk about the whole bankruptcy credit card thing when the whole thing happened. But you guys, asked me these questions and I had no choice. I had to answer them. So it's like, you could have just answered the questions or you could have just come in front of it and just, go rid of the whole thing, which I think would have actually been beneficial for Robyn if she had come that. But at the same time, look, it's her real life, guys. She has 2 boys. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive because I like Robyn. I don't know. But I know that if it was me and no one has found out, I would never be the one to tell you. If they find out, yeah, then I would do like the whole price thing just the way Karen did, which is what Robyn was saying. And Gizelle, the only reason why you also talked about it, babe, is because it was already out online. So that's the same thing. If I was Robyn, I would wait, like she said. If someone now found out, then I'll be like, all right, damn, I'm caught now. Now I have to talk about it. But I'm not going to volunteer on my own and be like, hey guys, come see what's going on in my house. And Andy reads a question from a fan to Candiace, and basically it's saying that, Candiace, why do you care if Robyn is sharing all these things? You're complaining that Robyn did not share all these things about her and Juan when you said in season 3 that you and Chris have a right to share what you want to share and keep what you don't want to share. And instead of Candiace to reply this question, she's like, well, I'm not going to answer it, because they actually bleeped the person who asked the question. And Candiace is like, I'm not going to answer that question because that's her blogger, that's her friend, and I'm not going to talk about it because she has shared like proprietary information about me. And Robyn is like, oh, here we go again. And then she's like, yes, you've even spoken like horrible things about your friend. And at that point, everyone's like, who, Gizelle? And she's like, And she does this thing that, look, you guys need to stop bringing this irrelevant, like, stop bringing this thing. The receipts, if you know your receipt is not going to be given, stop doing it. You waste a lot of money getting this nonsense poster. Like, when they tried it the last time, it didn't work. I don't know why Candiace thinks it will work in her own time. And you know who I blame? I blame Monique. Because Monique came with the folder and it worked, everyone loved it, but then after that, it's like every other person has just been a flop. Well, she pulls out this poster, like piles of it, and I was like, oh shit. She's like, yeah, let me find it. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is something that's going to like break up Robyn and Gizelle. What could this information be? And then she reads it, and it's like, she's telling the blogger, this is after Juan had gotten upset with Gizelle and basically shouted at Gizelle for kind of questioning him about the whole cheatation. And Robyn basically messages or DMs this blogger that's also her friend and says, look, I'm really mad about it. The video was basically the video that Gizelle was talking to Robyn, and Robyn was telling Gizelle, like, you know, why didn't you like what you did? And Giselle's like, he yelled at me, whatever. And underneath it, she writes, like, I'm so upset. Should I send this to her? Like, I'm really upset. Like, I want to post this on Sunday. Okay. So Gizelle was like, I'm not even mad. It doesn't make sense. And Robyn and I have talked about it. So I'm the one that's supposed to be mad, and I'm not mad. So why are you mad on my behalf? Which is like, girl, don't bring a flop. It was so underwhelming. I'm like, Andy asks Candiace, now after you've seen the entire of the season, do you still believe that Robyn plotted with Gizelle and Ashley to malign Chris in order to hide everything that's going on with Juan? And she's like, yes, I do. Everyone's like, oh, here we go again. And she's like, yes, I do. All right. It doesn't make sense, babe. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. That is not what happened. Because Robyn was on your side all through. It wasn't what happened. It was not what happened. And then Andy asks Candiace, what do you need from Robyn in order to move forward? Because remember, Andy is setting intention, like, I want us to be able to move forward this reunion. So he's asking Candiace, like, what do you need from Robyn in order for you to move forward? And guys, this was my favorite part of the entire reunion. And she's like, and Andy's like rushing to get the tissue, and Gizelle just starts laughing. Giselle's like, oh, here we go again with tears. The tears, which I'm like, yes. I'm just so happy that Gizelle clocked it, because I cannot deal with one more fake tear. And guess what, guys? If you notice, there were no tears the entire reunion. You know why? Because Gizelle clocked those fake tears. Like, don't even start. Nobody's going to believe that nonsense. We're done with this rubbish. And Gizelle starts laughing, and everyone is like, oh, why are you laughing? Like, ugh. And then Andy's like, Gizelle, that was a bit mean. And Andy, shut up. We're into the last reunion when this lady berated the life out of this woman, and she sat there and she took the whole thing, the entirety of it, and she apologized to this lady and her husband, and now she's laughing, and that's mean. If that's me, then lock all of us up, because guess what? I loved it, and that should be happening often. Once she starts crying, everyone starts laughing, because we're over the bullshit. We're over her fake tears, over it. The fakest thing ever is when Candiace girl, stop. No one is buying this nonsense anymore. And I'm so glad Gizelle laughed. Like, I was like, yes, this is what I want. Yes, clog those fake tears, man. Now, Candiace obviously can't cry, so she's like all face normal and all that. And she's like, what I need from Robyn is actually to acknowledge everything that happened. Like, I need the acknowledgement. So now you want Robyn to admit to plotting against your husband in order to hide her own relationship problems. She's not going to do that, babe, because that's not what happened. And she's like, because you did not just hurt me, but you also hurt my husband. And Chris saw you as a friend. And I like how Robyn said, well, guess what? If that's what you want, if you want me to acknowledge that I plotted against your husband in order to hide my own relationship problems, I would advise you that you shouldn't even be my friend. Which I was like, exactly. Because why would you want to have a friend like that? And then Candiace is like, done. Robyn's like, because if you still don't get it, you cannot go by your own, what you have assumed and what you've thought in your mind and your own perception of things. You can ask the questions which she's asked repeatedly. And Robyn has said, look, no. We even saw all through the whole season, even at the reunion, Robyn was on your side. It was towards the end that everything fell apart. And obviously, we all saw what happened post-season. What made me laugh is that Andy's like closing the segment with like Robyn, and it felt like a goodbye to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think I was just looking for clues to see that maybe Robyn was really fired or not, and this just felt like a big clue when he was like, all right, Robyn, what do you want us to know about your relationship? Like, how do we like basically end this disaster relationship? And Robyn is like, we've been together for 28 years. There's going to be ups and downs, but we're going to stick together forever. Pretty much. And Andy's like, okay, I can understand that. And that's why I said what I said when I'm like, I truly think they have an arrangement, and I truly think that they may, and all this is alleged obviously, they may actually only break up when their kids are 18. But before they're 18, Robyn and Juan are going to be together through everything. So everyone just get ready. That's if Robyn is not fired from the show, we're going to keep seeing the same dynamic. But if she's fired from the show, we're still going to see it online until her kids are 18. Robyn is going to be with Juan. And now we get to Karen's segment, right? And it really doesn't look like Karen's segment. It didn't even look like her own package, unless they have something else in part 2. It seems like that was it for Karen, right? It just went back to like Gizelle and Candiace. But I think maybe because Karen was sort of like the peacemaker this season, so she really did not have any like personal story, was just sort of helping everybody out with their own story. But anyway, they talk about the fact that she turned 60, she looks really good, she admits to having a facelift, the short hair, everything just goes. And she says her body is her body, and man, her body is even better than my own. She looks really good, like really good. And then Andy's like, well, you're a peacemaker, but you're also like always on the fence. And then he asks them like, who thinks she's on the fence? And then he asks Candiace, and Candiace is like, yeah, she's always riding on the fence, but she's a fence hopper, but not in a bad way. And Andy basically brings up the whole like death threat theme, where Gizelle had confided in Karen as to the reason why she didn't want to kind of engage with Candiace anymore was really because of the death threat to her and her kids. And Andy really brings it up. And Gizelle is like, yes, I got those death threats. And then Gizelle basically explains that the reason why I said all those things was because of all the insults I'd gotten, especially the colorist one, which, I'm sorry, that is so true. It is. The fans are not ready to have that conversation, but you guys have bestowed on Gizelle that she's a colorist, and now because of that, all this nonsense. You guys have no idea what you're doing. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so glad that Candiace is no longer on this show, because Candiace literally listens to her fans to the death of her. She has so much potential, but she's let her fans kind of run her to the unemployment line. But we get to that point. Anyways, Gizelle basically gives up the list of everything that she feels like, you know, Candiace has said, like the whole colorist thing, you know, how it's affected her. And then Andy asks Candiace, like, all right, were you liking this tweet? And then we get images of that, of Candiace liking the tweets. And then she's like, yeah, of course I have. But then they have spoken about me in their podcast, about my husband in their podcast. And Gizelle is like, we only spoke about him once, and that was because it was all over the internet. And then we get the clip from that as well. We can listen to the audio where it was Gizelle and Robyn, and we're talking about the whole affair thing, which obviously the girl has come out and apologized and said, you look, I made it all up. But prior to that, Robyn is like, well, it wasn't like we made it up, because it was actually on the internet and we're just repeating what was said, right? And Robyn is like, well, there were screenshots of your husband's, you know, limp private parts. And everyone's like, what? And Candiace is like, I never saw that. It's like, well, it was the fact that Candiace said, is it brown? I was like, girl, stop. Like, just stop. You know, even Andy was like, okay, where is this going? Anyways, in the end, it was like, look, it's all been debunked. The girl retracted everything. It is what it is. So, but that was kind of like the conversation that we had about you. But you have gone and you've insulted the living daylight out of me. So I'm sorry, and it's all translated into death threats. Now, Candiace is like, well, I'm not going to take responsibility for that. I'm not. Andy is like, all right, we will break very soon in like 15 minutes. But look, I want us to get to a resolution. Candiace and Gizelle, what do we need to do to move on? And then Candiace is like, well, Gizelle has expressed that she's not ready to move on. Gizelle is like, look, all I did was basically give a list of everything that you have said. And no offense, she didn't even say everything. But Gizelle basically talks about the whole colorist evil, I should be fired, all this sort of things, which Candiace was like, all true. So how can you say all true and then you say she's the one that doesn't want to resolve things when Andy's saying you guys need to resolve things? And I love the fact that when Candiace said that, Mia was like, no, I don't think that. And even Gizelle quickly is like, no, all I did is just list out everything. That's all. And then Gizelle brings up everything from last reunion. And Gizelle is like, look, I don't want to repeat everything from last reunion, but like, I actually apologize for the things that you guys said you did not like. Because at that point, it's like, all right, what do you need? What do you need for this to be over? You're saying that I'm not ready to make this over. Meanwhile, I apologized already last season. I apologized at the reunion. I apologized Ultimate Girls Trip. What else do you need? And I like the fact that Gizelle said it, like, everything that you guys said, I said that you didn't like. I actually apologized. The singularly statement, I apologized. And then, what else? And Andy's like, what about anything said this season? And she's like, I have not said anything more. I haven't. And at this point, I'm like, oh my God, Gizelle, you're better than me. Because no offense, this is Housewives. You need to move on. And truly, this is what I've been trying to repeat all season long, is that Gizelle had apologized already at the reunion. We should be coming into this season already like resolved and moving on. But what happened is that Candiace was trying to hold on to it. And I love that Gizelle never gave her the daylight to kind of hop on this nonsense. And so now she doesn't know what to argue about. So she's just repeating the same nonsense over and over and over and over and over again. And at this point, Andy basically brings up the PAVE event and talks about the whole essay thing that Candiace basically spoiled the entire episode, because the moment the episode was over, we're all like tweeting about it and just talking about how, you know, the women came together and how, you know, women are like, you know, afraid to speak out and things like that. And then Candiace like tweets this horrible tweet, like basically saying like, it's crazy that someone who has accused someone of SA is trying to be like, hey, let's speak out against SA. And it was like a whole thread. And I love the fact that Andy kind of brought it up. And Andy's like, according to the law, when do you think that the statement that Gizelle made really constitute SA? And Gizelle is like, Ineka is a lawyer. And Mia is like, yeah, I was about to say that. And Wendy's like pissed. Wendy just has this stink attitude. Babe, this is the second time you're speaking the entire reunion. Keep quiet. And then she's like, well, he asked me, he's the host. And then Andy's like, yeah, Neka, as a lawyer, what do you think? And Neka is like, I don't think he constitutes SA. And Mia is like, exactly, I don't think he does. And I'm sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't even constitute SH. Let's not even talk about SA. It doesn't. And now they're arguing about the words that were used. Because at this point, Candiace is like, you said he forced you? You said he made you? And then Gizelle is like, all right, is it time for name calling time? I'm like, I'm loving what Gizelle is doing this period. Like, I'm loving it. Because Gizelle is like, I'm not going to let you get away with this nonsense. I know I'm not going to win if you go toe for toe. If you go toe for toe. So you know what? I'm going to be calling you out before you even start. That's it. You know, so Candiace doesn't really have the time to kind of jab at her, because it's not affecting Gizelle. Like, Gizelle is like Teflon this season. She doesn't care. I think she's just done with Candiace in her brain. That anytime Candiace is talking, it's just like, she's going to apologize when she needs to, but she doesn't care to forge a friendship. That's how I look at it. Anyways, now Candiace is like, well, you kept saying that he made you, he forced you. She's always like, I never said that. I said he asked me. Now they're going back and forth. Now Karen is like, wait, are you speaking of the confessional? Because you did say, you know, he made you at the confessional. And Candiace is like, yes. And also the producers kind of tell Andy via mic that was what happened as well. That was said. And we see it on TV. And Gizelle, for the most part, immediately is like, if I said that. And then Andy's like, yeah, you did say it. Like, all right. He never made me do it. He never forced me to. He asked me to. And that's it. And when I went into the room, I was uncomfortable because it was just both of us there. So Gizelle apologizes again. And at that point, Wendy's like, all right, what do you need, Candiace, like, for Gizelle? Like, what, let's say Gizelle is accountable, right? What about you? What are you ready to give to also be accountable for this to move on? And Andy's like, thank you, Wendy. And that's when, you know, Candiace basically apologizes, I guess, for the whole death threat that the kids may have gotten based on the insults that she had, you know, given to Gizelle last season. And also the colorist statement. But then she's like, but I'm not going to take responsibility for the fans, you know, insulting you or the death threats per se. I'm not going to take any acknowledgement for that. I'm not going to take responsibility of the death threat, but I will take responsibility of the insult that I gave that warranted it. In my mind, I'm like, girl, what are you even saying? Like, what are you saying? Whatever. At that point, everyone is like, all right, we have gotten somewhere, but not really somewhere, but at least okay for now. And then we get to Gizelle, sorry, and then we get to Robyn and Karen, because Andy's like, all right, Robyn and Karen, can you guys say 3 things about each other? We all know that Karen is obsessed with Robyn, like for good or for bad, she is. Now Robyn says really good things about Karen, but Karen just cannot say 3 good things about Robyn. And then they argue for a bit, but we don't even care at this point. It's time for the break. We take the 15 minutes break. And guys, during this 15 minutes break, we see Mia on the phone. No, Mia comes into her dressing room. Gordon is there. And she's like, oh, I want to talk to my boo. He was blowing up my phone. And like, Gordon is there. And then she calls Ink. And then she's like, hey, baby, I missed you. Yeah, the ties are out. Yeah, this is out. And then he's like, oh, you look so good. Like, I love you too. And then she's like, hey, come say hi to Gordon. Gordon is like saying hi. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, you're talking to your boyfriend in front of your husband, someone that you were cheating on all through your marriage, that you guys don't even know who owns the son. Like, who is the biological father of Jeremiah? Like, oh my God, the mess. I'm sorry, I can't. It's just too much for me. It's going to be like, I can't. I don't understand. I know that people love it because it's juicy, but like, oh, I can't. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this storyline. Yeah, it's too wrong for me. I'm sorry. Like, oh, I just don't like it. It's too icky for me. And then we come out from the break, and it's time for Mia's package, right? And then Andy's like, you know, your radio personality boyfriend, tell us a story. And Mia basically lets us know that she's known him since they were in high school. They were high school sweethearts. We see their pictures. I think that's from prom or something. And obviously they had to break up because, well, it's live. He had to go to Atlanta to kind of face his radio career, and she also was doing her own thing. But then they reconnected after Gordon was in the picture and kind of had like a slip up, right? Because she says it, and that's when we know that. So you've even been cheating all through this marriage. Well, not the beginning, but some part of it. They fell back in love and whatever. And that's when Wendy sort of interrupts, and Wendy's like, well, I just want to say something, Mia. Like, I don't know where, you know, you and Gordon, what you guys are saying outside, especially Gordon, but this is what I heard. Gordon told someone that Ink had come into the house to take Jeremiah away. And that's because he really thinks Jeremiah is his son. And then Andy's like, does Ink think Jeremiah is his son? And Mia says yes. And it's like, till now? Like, actually, it's like, still? Whew. And that's pretty much where we leave it. I actually think that Ink is Jeremiah's dad. They look alike to me. So it's unfortunate. I feel bad for Gordon, but at the same time, look, Gordon, you were looking for the sugar baby, right? So I don't know. It's so messy, guys. It's so messy. Whose side are you guys on with the whole Gizelle and Candiace thing? I am Team Gizelle. I know that I am in the minority, but I am Team Gizelle all day, every day. I'm so glad Candiace is out. We needed this fresh air coming into next season. I am excited to see what happens. I'm also excited to see Nneka versus Wendy. I already know I'm going to be Team Nneka because I understand as a Nigerian, I truly understand the dynamics, and I think I understand the behind the scenes as well, enough to be Team Nneka. When it comes to the whole Ashley thing, I don't know. Whatever with Ashley. Whatever. Did anyone find it odd that Ashley was like seated at the end and she's an OG? Did anyone find it odd? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Well, guys, I'm going to let you guys go now. What you guys think about this episode, let me know. Guys, I have a podcast by the same name where you can listen on the go. And please, guys, if you love what I put out, please take a moment to subscribe, guys. I beg you guys. It is free. Please take a moment to subscribe. I am on the road to 500, and I would love if you guys do subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much, guys. Don't forget to share, like, and turn on your notifications so that whenever I post, you'll be the first to see it. I love you guys. Bye.